We've all been there, scrolling through social media or arguing with friends about why AEW just isn't hitting like it used to. You'll hear every theory under the sun. Too many ex-WWE guys, the booking makes no sense, they've lost their identity, the roster is too big, the chatter is loud, opinionated, and relentless. But what if all that noise, all that passionate debate, was actually distracting us from the quiet, insidious, obvious truth? What if the real enemy is the rising number of injuries that are happening in the company? Now, before we go any further, let's be clear. Injuries are an undeniable part of professional wrestling, just like they are in any high-impact sport. From football to gymnastics, bodies break down. It's the nature of pushing human limits. However, what we've seen in All Elite Wrestling isn't just common attrition. It's a unique and alarming situation where bodies seem to be dropping left and right. In their commendable effort to carve out a distinct identity, to truly be the alternative, AEW deliberately leaned into a style of wrestling that set them apart. This wasn't the storyline-driven sports entertainment, mainstream style, nor was it the cartoonish antics of others. This was a direct embrace of athleticism, high-impact maneuvers, and a relentless, often breathtaking work rate. In large part, this strategy has been a resounding success. This commitment to in-ring excellence has cultivated a fiercely loyal fan base, drawn in critics who yearned for a return to pure professional wrestling, and undeniably helped AEW establish itself as a respectable brand with its own unique identity. The AEW style became synonymous with exhilarating, unpredictable matches that consistently left fans on the edge of their seats. But this distinctive approach has come at a staggering cost. The relentless pursuit of always having five-star, breathtaking innovative, but inherently dangerous sequences has contributed to a casualty list that is frankly alarming and almost unique to this company. In simple words, it has led to too many injuries. Kenny Omega has suffered multiple significant injuries, including abdomen, shoulder, and knee issues. Adam Cole has had various injuries, including a severe concussion that kept him out for months. Eddie Kingston, Jon Moxley. It's unfortunately far easier to list AEW wrestlers who haven't suffered a significant injury than those who have. Beyond the examples provided, the list of injured stars is extensive and constantly growing. Think about it. Other major wrestling promotions, while not immune to injuries, do not face this kind of persistent, revolving door of sideline marquee talent. Their schedules might be grueling, but their in-ring style often emphasizes safety and storytelling that relies less on constant high-risk maneuvers. AEW's commitment to pushing the envelope has, unfortunately, pushed its roster to their physical breaking point, creating a challenge that, unlike creative critiques or booking debates, is much harder to simply fix. Okay, so we've established the stark reality. AEW has an injury problem that goes beyond the common wear and tear of professional wrestling. But how precisely has this relentless wave of injuries crippled the company, not just on a superficial level, but at its very core? The impact has been profound, acting like a slow, systemic drain on everything AEW strives to be. First, and perhaps most devastatingly, injuries have crippled AEW creatively. Imagine trying to write an epic novel, but every few chapters your main characters suddenly vanish for months, sometimes over a year with no warning. That's the challenge AEW's creative team faces. Long-term storytelling, intricate character arcs, and carefully planned feuds become almost impossible to execute. A major feud building towards a pay-per-view main event can be instantly derailed. The creative team then has to scramble, often throwing together last-minute replacements, which can feel unearned or less impactful to the audience. This leads to disjointed narratives and a sense of inconsistency that frustrates fans who crave cohesive storytelling. Think about the multiple instances where champions have had to vacate titles due to injury, immediately throwing a wrench into the division's plans and undermining the significance of the championship reign itself. A prime example of this inherent difficulty, and ultimately a testament to AEW's adaptability, is the MJF and Adam Cole Devil storyline. This saga was a masterclass in evolving narrative, initially blossoming from an odd couple tag team into a deep, layered friendship, culminating in the Devil mystery. The initial chemistry between MJF and Adam Cole was electric. leading to a fan-favorite partnership and the belief that this dynamic would be central to AEW's storytelling for a significant period. Their storyline was a slow burn, building trust and camaraderie, with the fans genuinely invested in their unlikely bond. However, the very real threat of injury struck. While the Devil's storyline ultimately reached an okay conclusion, with Adam Cole revealing himself as the Devil, one can only imagine the contingency plans and frantic rewrites that happened and caused both Adam Cole and MJF got injured. CM Punk's second reign as AEW World Champion, which began at All Out 2022, provides another clear-cut example of how injuries can throw a wrench into meticulously planned narratives and build-ups, leading to a frustrating sense of interrupted momentum. Punk had just defeated Jon Moxley in a highly anticipated rematch to regain the AEW World Championship, a moment that felt like a huge capstone to his triumphant return to wrestling. The narrative was set. Punk, the best in the world, had overcome the adversity of his prior foot injury, which also occurred shortly after his first AEW World title win at Double or Nothing 2022, and reclaimed his spot at the top. The future looked bright for a significant, dominant run with the gold. However, almost immediately after this momentous victory, news broke that CM Punk had suffered a torn triceps during the all-out main event, reportedly during a tope dive to the outside. This was a severe injury requiring surgery and a significant recovery period, typically around 8 months. These are a few examples that illustrate how injuries consistently undermine the ability of AEW's creative team to tell truly long-form, uninterrupted stories. When a wrestler is building steam, creating a compelling storyline, and then gets injured, all that investment from the audience vanishes. The payoff, the climactic match or revelation, never happens. This leaves a lingering sense of incompleteness and can make fans hesitant to invest too deeply in new storylines, fearing they too might be cut short by an unforeseen injury. Creativity thrives on consistent pieces. When you're constantly patching holes in your roster, it becomes harder to experiment with new concepts, develop new talent organically, or fully commit to long-term angles. The focus shifts from innovation to mere survival, trying to keep enough healthy bodies on TV to fill the allotted time. Not to mention, injuries have mercilessly stopped wrestlers who had burgeoning momentum from reaching true stardom. In wrestling, momentum is everything. It's the intangible force that propels a performer from popular to iconic, from a good wrestler to a main event draw. Injuries have repeatedly, and often tragically, severed this crucial connection, leaving careers in limbo and fan excitement deflated. And beyond the immediate creative chaos and the derailed pushes of individual stars, there's a broader, more insidious consequence. The constant drumbeat of injury headlines is simply not a good look for any company, especially one trying to establish itself as a top-tier destination. Think about the casual fan or even someone just browse wrestling news. What messages do they consistently see associated with AEW? Yes, they'll see highlights of incredible matches, but those are frequently overshadowed by a seemingly endless stream of updates on who's out, who's rehabbing, and whose career is in jeopardy. When a company is perpetually in the news for its wrestlers being hurt, it creates a subliminal yet powerful negative association. It can suggest a lack of safety, an unsustainable workload, or even an environment where performers are pushed beyond their limits. This isn't just about hardcore fans. It affects how potential new viewers, advertisers, and even other talents perceive the brand. No one wants to join a company or invest in a product that constantly seems to be fighting an uphill battle against its own roster's health. For the audience, the constant injuries foster a waiting game mentality. Instead of anticipating the next great storyline or championship defense, fans are left wondering who's going to get hurt next, or when will so-and-so finally return. This shifts the focus from the excitement of the product to the anxiety of its fragility, making it harder for audiences to fully immerse themselves without the nagging worry of another sudden, devastating setback. In essence, the constant presence of injury news doesn't just represent a series of unfortunate events, it becomes a fundamental part of AEW's narrative, a recurring villain that silently but powerfully undermines their efforts to grow, to innovate, and to consistently deliver the world-class wrestling they aspire to.